So, Dion, you've just completed the numerology course for coaches and therapists.
Yeah.
And if you want to tell me a bit about yourself, let's start with you, what you do, and then we'll take it from there.
My name is Dion. I am the founder of Love Laid Bare, which is a mental wellness platform and podcast. And I'm also a trainee psychotherapist.
And what made you do the course with me, Dion, to learn numerology?
I think because of the work that we've done together previously, previous readings that we've done. And I just also wanted the opportunity to kind of, learn from you specifically. I think just because of the things that we've already done together, you've been on my platform and stuff like that. And we've also done kind of personal work as well. So for me, I also saw it as a way of developing, my spirituality as well.
Fantastic. And leading on from that, how has your spirituality developed?
Massively. I think as much as I kind of expected that there probably would be some level of increase, I think that it's massively exceeded my expectations. I think my spiritual growth throughout this process has zoomed. And I mean, obviously there's still a lot of more work to do. But I've learned loads, and it's opened me up so much. So yeah, it's been really good. I just think in my intuition, I also think that, throughout the process, you kept on saying to me to trust myself, trust, the downloads I was receiving and stuff like that. And I think when I got to the point where I started to trust myself, more information just started to come to me.
Yeah, fantastic. And exactly, that is what the difference is from this numerology course to traditional numerology, because it is about helping the student to channel the numbers as opposed to intellectualize it.
Yes.
Is that what you found? Because I know in the beginning you kept saying, I want to be accurate. And then you stopped saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very big thing for me, because I'm very much kind of like, I have to get this right. But like you say, there is the intellectual side, but there's also deeper things that you can actually find out outside of the numbers, but using the energy of the numbers.
Could you share a specific technique or concept that you learned in the course that you found particularly valuable to the work that you do now?
Just as I'm about to do a reading, it would be very important for me to kind of center myself, connect to source, and open myself up to any additional information that could come through.
Great. And so because I remember that you started to use crystals towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that go?
I mean, you recommended using a pendant so that I could almost double check the information that I was kind of receiving. And that was a complete game changer for me, because even in normal life, I can use the pendant to ask specific questions. And, because, my thing was very much about, accuracy, is this right? So I don't want to tell people the wrong thing and stuff like that. But the pendant has very much helped that process for me.
Great. And just for those who are watching, the pendulum, because we often associate the pendulum with being contacting something outside of us, contacting an energy outside of us, when in fact the pendulum is about connecting with your higher self.
Yes.
And I just want to make that clear. Because when you go through the course, it is really about connecting with you, your intuition, and doing whatever you have to do to access it. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously in the course we got practice sessions with which I encouraged you to do with friends and family. How did that go with I know you did some with friends, what was the general kind of feedback?
The feedback has been mind-blowing. Everyone has. I literally even did a reading late last night. A friend came round, and it's so accurate, because the thing is, as much as you know your friends and family, there's going to be things that you don't know. And it's very interesting that, when going through the reading and going through the chart, and you're kind of, telling them information about themselves via the number, it's been so accurate. And people can't believe how accurate it is, because a lot of people aren't aware of numerology. Some of them have never even heard of it. So to know that, aspects of your personality, things that you may have gone through can show up in the numbers. My feedback has been amazing. Everyone has said that they've understood what I've explained very well. It was very clear and concise. They didn't walk away feeling like they had any additional questions. And they've all left feeling very empowered, and, feeling like they've got more direction than they had previously. So it's been really helpful.
The people that you did readings for, have they ever had numerology readings? Is this something new? I mean, how did it actually kind of compare to readings they've had before? And how has it helped them?
I only had one friend who'd had a numerology reading years ago, and she was the first practice reading that I did. And she said to me in her feedback, she was like, I've had a numerology reading years ago. She was like, but considering you're only a trainee, this is actually the best reading I've had. She's like, I have tarot readings, I've had all sorts of readings over the years. She's like, I'm not just telling you that because you're my friend. I'm honestly saying to you, this reading was so in-depth. You picked up so many things about me that there was no way you would have known. I think because it is so structured, but also free flowing, where they can ask questions, and that type of thing. They found it amazing. I mean, everybody else hasn't had a numerology reading to date. So in a way, I'm kind of glad that I've given everybody a good positive experience, because I think just going forward, just generally, within the kind of spirituality community, it gives them a kind of a bit more of a trust, because some people are still not that receptive to things like readings and stuff like that. So
yes, exactly. And this is the thing, because I feel like some people have certain perceptions of readings as being kind of woohoo, and it's very kind of fortune telling like, whereas with this numerology that I'm teaching is more about helping the person to understand themselves, understand their journey, and really align them to who they are at that core soul level.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've done readings for people who of the Christian faith. So some were kind of a bit like, but once we'd gone through it, and they realized that this is a numbers game. There is. Do you see what I mean? There isn't. I'm not sitting there with a bowl. Do you know what I mean? And knocking anything, or trying to channel spirits or anything like that.
That's right.
Yes, I'm using my intuition. Yes, but I'm not trying to summon up anything to get this information. And with the history of numerology as well. It's thousands of years old. So it's based on maths, and it's based on the frequency of the numbers.
Yes, perfect. And that's right. And we all carry a certain frequency, and it is literally just tapping into that frequency. Exactly. Okay, so in terms of your expectations then of the course from the outset,
yeah,
when you came to me, it was all a bit, I've just literally revamped this course, and you were my first student with the new kind of upgrade. What were your expectations in the beginning?
You know what, to be honest, I didn't really have any. Because again, I didn't really understand numerology. For me, it was just an opportunity to learn something new. I think because of, the 7 that I have in my chart, I am a lifelong learner and I like to learn things. It's completely exceeded anything that I probably would have thought was possible. Because I genuinely didn't think that I would be in this position now. Does that make sense? With the learning that I've done, the readings that I've done, and particularly, like the anonymous readings that you would make me do for practice, and the information that I managed to pull just based off of somebody's date of birth. Yeah, completely mind blown. Yeah.
Oh wow. And you mentioned something there about you having a 7 in your numbers. What has it actually taught you about yourself?
Oh, wow. It just makes a lot of things make sense. Me even mentioning that I'm a lifelong learner, I have always had an interest in, spirituality, religion, but I wasn't really that open. I was open, but I was also a little bit kind of closed off due to, fear. But now that I understand myself a bit better because of the numbers, it's really helped. And I think one of the main things that I found really interesting was, when we did my own chart, and, I'm a life path 4. It's interesting that you kind of get to a certain point in your life, and it's almost like you almost have no choice but to step into the energy of your number, because I'd already been walking in the energy of my number without realizing that was my soul mission. And, that is through me starting, my Love Low Bear platform and, trying to build, something. And, with my 7 energy being that kind of holistic teacher, now knowing that, it's given me the confidence to actually step out and be that person, knowing that is, within my life's purpose. So
great. And has it helped you as well to kind of see where you're going in terms of how this is could potentially expand, like what you're doing at the moment?
Yes, it has. Yeah, it definitely has. And I think what I do love about numerology is that it's all about, I guess, taking advantage of the energy at the time. So, and being able to kind of see an indication that, for example, maybe next year, could be quite a creative year for you, but maybe the year after there might be a bit of change. Having that kind of pre-knowledge so that you can prepare yourself, for things that might come up. Good times, maybe not so good times, but I think it's important that I think most people have access to this information, because it just helps you to kind of prepare yourself for the energy that's kind of coming your way.
Yes, yeah, definitely. How has it changed the way that you kind of connect with other people, like see other people in your friendships, relationships? How has that changed?
I think it's definitely enhanced it. So like I say, obviously I'm a training psychotherapist, so I generally have a very good understanding of people and why they do the things they do. But I feel like with the added knowledge of the numerology, I now have a deeper understanding about, literally, if it's in their energy and in their numbers, they literally sometimes can't help it. Obviously there are things like, trauma and stuff like that can affect behaviors, absolutely. But it's also the knowing that, and I think this is one of the things that sometimes is probably a bit difficult for people to understand, that, when we come to Earth, we choose this life, we choose our experiences, because, we specifically want to learn from some of the things that we go through in this lifetime. So I think, and also it's definitely given me a better understanding of the reincarnation process, and and, just understanding that, life on this physical plane is about learning. And I think as well, it's I think more so relaxed me a little bit, if I'm honest, because, being aware that we kind of get a few opportunities to make things right, or to fulfill the things that we're supposed to fulfill. So not to say that I don't take life seriously, because of course I do, because obviously there is work that I need to do, but it's just made me just relax a bit and kind of be like, okay, it's serious, but it's not that serious at the same time, Does that make sense?
Completely. And it's almost like being able to take yourself out of the of your life, if that makes sense. You're kind of looking at it, you're taking yourself out of it, so you're not getting too caught up in the drama of it all. And that is what numerology does do, because you're able to think, okay, this is just what I have to go through. This, I just have to learn this lesson. I'm not going to get too hung up. I'm just going to do what I have to do to get through.
Yes.
And numerology really does help you and guide you in that way, because like you said, it's almost like there are certain nuances that we have that we can't help. So it's just knowing how to work with those as opposed to fighting against it.
Yeah.
That is, exactly what numerology does. So what advice would you give to somebody who was potentially thinking about learning numerology?
I would say 100% absolutely do it. I think even if you choose not to become a numerologist, the information and the knowledge that you gain is invaluable, because you can use it practically every day of your life. You can also, help people. I think in terms of advice, I would just say, if you are maybe a bit like myself, who, hasn't done any type of training like this before, it's just very important for you to be open to receiving, the knowledge and intuition that you kind of get yourself, because it will help you greatly. And also just relax through the process as well. I think there were times during the course that, I'd be a little bit pent up, like, oh, I don't know if I got this right. But again, that's very much in my nature. So I would definitely just say, make numerology also like a daily practice. So even outside of your training days, maybe look at other celebrities' numbers, look at your friends, try and start identifying numbers that you pick up in people as well.
Yeah, perfect. It gets a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it flows more.
Yes.
Because I feel like we have to be in that relaxed state in order for our intuition to really be activated.
Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So when people learn numerology, the first thing they say to me is, what books do I have to do I need to get? I always say, you don't need any books at this point. Read the books later. The whole point of the course is to get you to tune into the frequency, the energy of the numbers, and then the information, the intellectual stuff comes later. Is that what you found as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think I literally got 2 books delivered on Monday.
Yeah.
I didn't purchase any additional books. I just literally focused on, the content that, you provided. And to be honest with you, the knowledge kind of stuck once I started to do practice readings.
Yes.
Because it's like the more practice readings you do is the more you can kind of you start to see similarities in people, and you start to see similarities in the numbers. Yeah. So for me, I think that would be my biggest kind of, takeaway when it comes to the learning. Leave the books. The content is all you need right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think with numerology, it's the learning capacity in all the different areas that you can go into it's practically endless, right? Because you can apply the numbers to pretty much anything.
Yeah.
But I think for this course, you know, all the content is there. You don't really need anything else at this stage.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, as you said, the books, buy as many books as you want. Let's get the practical, the intuitive side activated, and then the books come after. And that's how I feel like you become the numerologist that's more in tune, as opposed to, you know, being sort of judging, you know, that compassion comes through and that intuition comes through, as opposed to the just, you know, putting labels on people.
I just want to say thank you so much. I think, you know, I was going through a particularly hard time whilst I was doing my training, and, you know, having you there and available to, you know, during the teaching massively, you know, helped me kind of, you know, get through some things, and, you know, also helped with my learning as well. So thank you for being excellent facilitator, teacher, guide, you know, coach, all of that stuff. So yeah, thank you. Thank
you so much, Dion. And you've been an absolute pleasure to teach. And as I said, I don't know if you remember in the beginning, I said that you've got this from your numbers. I could just see that you're going to be amazing at this.
Yeah.
And I hope you believe it now, because I know in the beginning you're like, I'm not sure.
I didn't believe it at all. And funnily enough, one of the books that I bought on Monday, came in quite handy. And I was looking at the book, you know, and I was looking at, you know, the life path numbers and what have you. And it actually had down that life path 4s are very good numerologists. And I was like, oh, okay. So maybe this was actually meant to be. Well, of course it was, you know. So.
Yeah, of course, 100%. So yeah, I can see that you're going to go on to have, you know, an amazing career, practice, however you choose to use it. You know, I can see how you're going to, you know, make it really work for you and for the people that you serve.